Yavapai Broadcasting and the City of Cottonwood proudly present Inside Cottonwood, an inside look at the decisions and issues of the City of Cottonwood. Brought to you by Arizona Smile Designers.
Welcome to Inside Cottonwood. I'm Richard Faust, your host for the day. I'm Community Services General Manager for the City of Cottonwood, and we're here to discuss something that's been going on for some time now in Old Town. And we've been doing walk-in on Main in our Parks and Recreation Department for some time. And with us today are both Hezekiah Allen. He's our Community Services Supervisor for Recreation Services. And he also does all of our special events. And he's actually over all of our pool facilities and supervising all of that. So you kind of have a joint responsibility, a kind of combination of hats, as you would say.
Definitely, all fun.
All fun, and it's good to have somebody that really enjoys special event programming, and that's one of the nice things we have going on with the Parks and Recreation Department. We'll be talking a little bit more about that here in a minute. We also have Mitch Levy, and Mitch, you're with Burning Tree Cellars, and you're located in Old Town area. And so welcome to Inside Cottonwood also today. We'll be getting to you as to some of the questions that we have about Old Town and what is kind of the mystique about Old Town and some of the circumstances there. So we'll get into that here in a minute also. One thing about Old Town Cottonwood, and I wanted to actually get into this a little bit, is over the last 8 years we've seen probably quite a bit of growth. And at one point in time, Old Town was somewhat stagnant, and we've been really blessed and fortunate as a community to have an Old Town like we do. One of the interesting things and phenomenons that's been going on is we have been pumping dollars and funding into it, as well as seeing an incredible resilience of Old Town with a lot of the different businesses and corporate money that's come in to that area. We've also seen a lot of communities that have actually come to Cottonwood requesting, how in the world are you seeing a resurgence in your Old Town area? And I think it's rather curious as we just kind of go, well, it's been kind of facilitating itself, but our city council is definitely pro Old Town. Our city manager is pro Old Town, and that's where we see a lot of the growth. We have seen the Greater Phoenix Chamber of Commerce visit, as well as ask us to come down and identify what we've been doing and how we've been implementing changes to the Old Town area and how we've revitalized. We've also seen the city of Florence, Dewey, Payson, Flagstaff, Prescott Valley, and then also Williams come into our community and take a look at the Old Town area and want to know how are we doing these things. And so it's rather fortunate that we also have the availability as Parks and Recreation and Community Services, the opportunity to close down Old Town, have a partnership with many of the businesses in the Old Town Association, and be able to actually run our Thunder Valley Rally program with our motorcycle event, as well as the upcoming Walking on Main, which will be this coming Saturday. So we are very fortunate in that respect. As we look into the Old Town area, and I guess that that community cooperation what is it that you've seen over the years as community cooperation has really taken a step forward between businesses as well as the city of Cottonwood itself? What has happened there that you've seen that's really been kind of a rather interesting thing that you look at?
Yeah, I think it's interesting. I think we can all identify certain areas within Old Town, the wine industry that's sparked some growth, the restaurants coming in. But really what it comes down to is the different individuals throughout the community having buy-in and understanding the philosophy of Old Town as our destination driver. If they come to Old Town, they're driving through the rest of the city of Cottonwood. And we're tired of being that pit stop between Jerome and Sedona. And everybody excited, on board, investing, believing, and that carrying forward. And now with the Governor's Award and being number 9 on Lonely Planet's Best Places to Visit, it's only carrying through nationwide, so it's pretty exciting.
Well, what was the Governor's Award also? Can you speak on that?
Yeah, a little bit. The Governor's Award is they kind of recognize communities throughout the state of Arizona that have, like you stated, done a tremendous job in building their local economy. And through recessions as such, what we went through and currently still in, the city of Cottonwood through Old Town has been able to build, promote, and also pull in additional businesses to that district, and the state has recognized and given an award.
And that's very true, and that's one of the really incredible things that's transpired is we see this now as a vibrancy now in the Old Town area.
Yeah.
You can go down into Old Town, and my wife and I will walk down, and there's the vibrancy, there's the music, there's the culture, the entertainment, but there's food and there's wine and there's all of this combined together. It's really a unique atmosphere, and people love it. When we bring people in with our events and our special event programs, all we hear is, we didn't know this was here,
right.
Or man, this is our second year or our third year or our fifth year, we're coming back again, and this time we're just going to come and stay for a while. And so we see that also. Now, Hez, you're kind of over here beside the wine.
Yeah.
And
it's
now
very tempting, by the way.
And
we're going to go to break now.
I think that we now have how many wine companies that are located in the Old Town area? Do you know?
Mitch, I would say we have four.
We have four. We have four.
And just in the wine tasting portion of Walking on Main, we have Alcantara, Arizona Stronghold, Burning Tree, Fire Mountain, Javelina Leap, Oak Creek, Page Springs, Passion Cellars, Pillsbury, and I'm sure there's probably more, but those are all local wineries.
Right.
And it's interesting to know why these wineries are here, and I'm sure Mitch will go into that a little later. But
right. And I think that that's really an interesting thing that's going on also is the wine industry is coming in, but we're also seeing some of the pubs that are starting to take a look at Cottonwood also in Old Town areas. So, there will be maybe some of those changes that'll be upcoming also here in a while. Now, can you explain to our listeners how Walking on Main began?
Sure. We kind of had a void in our programming, and it was more so on the cultural side. Things that represent the community of the Verde Valley as a whole. And we had a council member, Terrence Pratt, who had the idea of starting a cultural program, kind of focused around jazz music, walking the street. And so from that, Walking on Main was born, and it's a culmination of the history and culture, celebrating historic 89A, which was an Indian trade route. It was the only way to get from southern Arizona to northern Arizona. Kind of like our own Route 66.
Right.
And so Walking on Main is that program for our community in the Verde Valley.
And how long has the program been going on now for Walking on Main?
The paper said it was 6 years. And I was like, has it been 6 years?
Yeah.
And it very well could be.
I think it has been. Because we started off slow, it was a small little event, and then we've grown as we've started adding more art and things of that nature as the cultural aspect of Walking on Main. So is there a charge for people for them to come down?
No, the program's completely free.
All right.
And we look forward to having families to come down, experience a program. There's something for everyone. We realize the car show is mostly for the men, so they're going to come down to the car show while the ladies are looking through the yard, having a little wine, spending some money at Mitch's place.
There you go.
So there's something for everybody. Obviously, the wine tasting portion, there's a cost to that.
Okay. So what do you consider unique about Walking on Main? Is there something unique about it?
I think it's one word, picturesque.
Okay.
When you're standing at the top of the street, because it's naturally stepped,
it's beautiful.
You look back and there's just the old town district that you can think way back to the early 1900s when those were all wood buildings with wood sidewalks to what it is now, and the history that's involved there, and the underground tunnels, and the background of Tuesday Goot, and the woods, and the Verde River, and then the classic cars that are parked on the street that really take you back to that time. You walk the street and it's almost memory lane.
Yes, it is. It really is interesting too. And this time of the year, it's really, our past years have been rather cool or cold.
Yeah.
This weekend, we're supposed to be looking at a high of around 73 to 74 degrees. It's going to be beautiful. The evening, as we see the program venue stretch out a little bit, it's going to be just gorgeous. Now tell us the times that are involved here.
It's 11 a.m. to 5 p.m.
All right, 11 to 5. And so, but now after the program shuts down, there's so many things to continue to do.
Oh, definitely. In fact, the Old Town Center for the Arts, they're having the Princeton Blues Band. Excuse me if I pronounced that wrong.
Okay.
Great act. It's $15 in advance, $18 at the door. 20 gets you priority seating. Again, that's through the Old Town Center for the Arts. It's a great venue. It's small. It's unique. It's ran by William Eaton. So if you get a chance after the program, go and see another blues band.
That's great. I think that'll be a lot of fun. So if you enjoy blues, this is the time of the year as well, and enjoy wine. That'll be something for everyone to take in. And I guess the last thing I wanted to ask you, Hez, before we move over to our break, as well as then come back to Mitch, is can you explain the program format and
Sure.
what's going on down there, so people have a really good idea as they come
Definitely.
into town?
When you first come into Old Town, obviously Old Town is kind of where the break from 89 Main Street happens. When you get to the street closure, you'll see a giant tent, and that's the first art exhibit. Once you get past that tent is the wine tasting area. Past that is the stage and seating area. Then there's another art exhibit, historic booths, and then a classic car show. So when you get down to Old Town, find a parking lot. They're all still open. We haven't shut any of those down. It's just on Main Street.
All right.
Park, walk, enjoy the afternoon.
All right. Oh, that sounds really good. We appreciate you being here for Inside Cottonwood. I'm your host. We're going to take a break now. I'm Richard Faust. We'll see you when we come back.
Having a fire escape plan is very important to keep your family safe and together in the event of a fire. When you awake to the sound of a smoke detector and smoke in your room, don't stand straight up. Carefully roll off your bed and stay low under the smoke. If your door is shut, feel the door with the back of your hand. Slowly open the door if no heat is felt. Always stay low until you get to the outside of your home. Always have two ways out of your house and a specified meeting place somewhere outside your home. Home escape plans should be drawn up and rehearsed on a regular basis. This could be the difference between life and death if caught in a fire.
Welcome back to Inside Cottonwood. I'm your host today, Richard Faust, Community Services General Manager for the City of Cottonwood. And with me again today are Hezekiah Allen. He's our Recreation Services Supervisor for the City of Cottonwood Community Services Department. And also with us is Mitch Levy, and Mitch is with Burning Tree Cellars, and it's a business down in Old Town, and it's our pleasure to have you here today. You can give us a little bit of information about your business also, but primarily, I guess a little bit, you grew up in New Jersey area.
I grew up in outside Philadelphia, and then also in northern Jersey.
Okay, awesome. And then you got into the wine business how?
Well, I kind of backdoored getting into the wine business. I was a chef a long time ago, and got kind of burnt out of working 90 to 100 hours a week. And years later, who would know that I'd end up meeting my business partner, Corey Turnbull, and I own Burning Tree Cellars.
That's great. Now, where's Burning Tree Cellars at?
We're down at Old Town.
Right.
Address is 1040 North Main Street. But as you go towards Clarkdale, before the big turn, we're on the left-hand side. We have a big outside seating area, patio. You can't miss us.
That's awesome. Okay, so if you want to enjoy, and that, I guess that's kind of the other thing is a lead in a little bit. Now, you guys are also doing something after Walking on Main on Sunday, and that's going to be what? What are you're having some sort of an event there at the Burning Tree? Right,
on the patio and the inside, we're doing a chili cook-off. And it's $10 to enter a pot of chili. And if you just want to taste and be the judge, it's $5. 100% of the money that we collect will go towards the food bank. This will be the second annual one they've done that. So we want to beat last year. We raised $545.
Oh, that's awesome.
So our goal is to beat that, and we have music from 2 o'clock to 5, and that will be 13 to the gallows we were playing.
All right.
So hopefully they'll bring a lot of people in also.
Well, now, you were just explaining to it during break is that you also have music in the evenings. Almost at all of the different wine tasting areas, there's music also.
Right.
They played in music.
Right. Every Friday and Saturday we have music, and most of the tasting rooms in Old Town has it on Saturday.
Okay.
So there's more music, from my understanding, in Cottonwood than there is in Sedona on a Friday or Saturday night.
All right.
We're not competitive.
No.
Slightly.
So now, you've been in business for how long now in Old Town area?
Well, we've been in Old Town about a year and a half.
About a year and a half.
Right. We started by making our wine at Page Springs and selling it there. Then we started making more and kind of moved over to Stronghold. And then last year we were able to make enough and open our own tasting room.
I see. So now, with that in mind, now last year's event with Walking on Main, now you guys were a part of that from last year then. With that, was there something that you saw that was unique in the context of bringing people down into the Old Town area?
Well, I think just another event to add to what Cottonwood believes in Cottonwood, that we're a small town, but we can put on some pretty big events that are unique to this area, from Thunder Valley Rally to Rhythm and Ribs to Walking on Main to the Chocolate Walk that we have coming up, the VIP and the regular Chocolate Walk.
Right.
It's just, you don't see other towns doing this. Safe Night with Halloween. You know, it's just amazing how this town has embraced everybody.
That's kind of unique. And I think that's one of the grandiose ideas that was originally thought of, is kind of a mutual collaboration, working together between both businesses, the Old Town Association, and you're also a member of the Wine Consortium.
Right.
And so in that context, explain that to us also.
Well, the Verde Valley Wine Consortium is a organization that promotes the wineries. Anybody can join as far as a business, be an associate member. But we're really, the consortium promotes and helps promote the wineries themselves, because we're here to support them.
So has the wine industry really picked up steam here then in the last 5 years or so, from what we've been hearing?
Well, at one time, if you go not even that far back, there was only about 15, 20 different wineries. Now there's 78 licensed bottled wineries in the state.
Wow. Yeah, so it really has. It's increased dramatically. And I know even in the Verde Valley area, like what Hez was identifying, is that we've grown demonstrably in the context of when you see that many wineries throughout the area, and then them pouring in, into the Old Town area for Walking on Main. And I know they went before the city council the other night. Yep. And so it's rather interesting to see that many in the consortium to come together.
Right.
So it'd be rather interesting.
Well, like as a guy was saying, that we're number 9 on the Lonely Planet, the Verde Valley Wine Trail and Cottonwood. But that wine trail starts off in Cornville with the 3 wineries over there. You have 260 of Alcantara.
Right.
Goes into Cottonwood, and now in Clarkdale they opened up 4-8 Wine Works, so there's a stop there, and then Jerome. Right. And there's 3 or 4 up there. So it's kind of a unique experience, and we're not as pretentious as they are in California. we're more down to earth.
I'm glad you said that.
We're more down to earth as far as, we don't take ourselves too seriously, although it's still a business,
Definitely.
It's, we just like drinking wine.
Right. But we hear, and that's part of it, though, is you hear so many people talking about the wine industry here. The college has moved forward and actually has a viniculture program. And when you see that, and you see the community as a whole embracing this industry, it's really rather interesting. I saw a lot in the southern Arizona area 10 years ago, but now a lot has come up here again, because I think, again, in the context of all the way from Page Springs, Sedona to Cottonwood, there is more of a dry cycle, which also helps the wine itself. And can you explain that a little bit more about the wine and what that needs?
Well, grapes like dry weather.
Right.
They like cool in the evening, hot during the day, and they're a low water usage plant, which people don't realize. Before Prohibition, there was more grapes grown in Arizona than was in California. Right. And then Arizona was a zero tolerance state, so they got rid of all the grapevines.
Oh, okay.
So
that's interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't know that either. Now, Mitch, explain what in your opinion is the best wine? Maybe your best wine.
I don't say we have a best one. I think they're all very good, but everybody has a different taste, a different palate. So if you don't like our wines, there's other wineries around that you're going to find somebody that you like as far as their style. And what's really nice is we all get along. If I need help, I know I could call somebody else and they'll be there, and vice versa if they call me for help. We've embraced each other, because if we do well, they do well. They do well, we do well.
Right.
We're all together in this. It's one big big family is the best way to look at it.
And I think that that's what you just had indicated is, you're not, none of you guys are pretentious in the context of, helping one another. And I think that that's really a big asset overall as to how the wine industry has really started to burgeon and, come alive here. So I think that's a great thing. I guess, have you won any awards?
We've actually we were one of the first 2 wineries in the state of Arizona to receive a 90 point by Wine Spectator on one of our wines.
There you go. That's what I wanted to
know. Us and Page Springs, and they both came from Clebrae Vineyards, which Page Springs owns, and it was a Syrah.
Wow, that's awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you.
That is really something else. Now, can you explain that point system? I mean, a lot of people are like, well, what are you talking about, a point system? Explain that to us.
Well, there's certain levels where the 90 starts is where it's excellent and above.
Okay.
And good is very good, and they have an individual sits down and tastes them, and they have a sheet how they score it, but Arizona kept on getting 89s. So we look at this as being everybody in Arizona's 90. Right. I mean, we're trying to get Arizona recognized. Corey and I really don't believe in the scoring. We're happy when someone comes in and watching their face drink our wine for the first time and get that, wow, this is really good. That makes us feel better.
That's great.
It's just one person's opinion what a scoring is.
So if I want to try some wine this weekend at the event at Walk-In on Main, what do I do? How do I go about doing that?
Okay, there's going to be a table set up where it'll cost you $10.
All right.
You get a glass and 5 tickets, and they do have additional tickets on sale if you want to buy them. And you take a ticket, you go up to one of the wineries that will be there, and they'll give you a taste for each ticket.
All right.
And there's 4 of us that have tasting rooms down in Old Town. If you like what we have there, you can go down and get the rest of our wines to try them. But we have in our tasting room 3 different flights. Okay. That $10, and you get to keep the tasting glass, and it's a small little logo glass.
That's great.
And you get to try 5 different wines.
All right. That's amazing. So it sounds like we've got quite a opportunity for people to come enjoy I think the culture as well down in Old Town. See the picturesqueness of Old Town, especially as it drops into evening. Yep. And the weather's going to be beautiful, so it's going to be an incredible time. Mitch, I wanted to thank you also for letting us a little bit more about the wine industry as well, and especially the point system. So we'll maybe get back with you here in just a little bit as we talk with Hez after the break again. So we'll be taking a short break. I'm Richard Faust, Community Services General Manager for the City of Cottonwood and with Inside Cottonwood.
Having a fire escape plan is very important to keep your family safe and together in the event of a fire. When you awake to the sound of a smoke detector and smoke in your room, don't stand straight up. Carefully roll off your bed and stay low under the smoke. If your door is shut, feel the door with the back of your hand. Slowly open the door if no heat is felt. Always stay low until you get to the outside of your home. Always have 2 ways out of your house and a specified meeting place somewhere outside your home. Home escape plans should be drawn up and rehearsed on a regular basis. This could be the difference between life and death if caught in a fire.
Welcome back to Inside Cottonwood. I'm your host today, Richard Faust, Community Services General Manager for the City of Cottonwood. And we're talking Walk-In on Main. Walk-In on Main now, this is the 6th year as we're going to be celebrating this coming Saturday, and it's from 11 to 5 o'clock as Alan was just describing. Hez, as we get into this last segment of the program, can you explain a little bit as to the Mingus Union High School Hot Rod Club's car show that's going to be there also at Walk-In on Main?
Definitely. You know, that's one of those clubs that if I was in high school, I'd have been a part of at the drop of a hat. Instead, we had FFA, which is a great program, but it wasn't up my alley. It's one of those clubs where, you know, they put this hot rod show on. The back half of the street is hot rods only. It's picturesque. It sets that mood. It sets memory lane when you see a 57 Chevy sitting there or a 55. And it takes you way back, you know, especially with the history. So It's interesting. It's a nice car show. It adds to the program. It's something for the guys to do while they're there. So
yeah, I think that's great. So is there something unique about it that's different each year, or is it just just the youth that are involved and the hot rods and people bringing their vehicles down?
I think the uniqueness is that you have the Route 66 days in Flagstaff,
right?
And then this is kind of our Route 89 days, and 89A is that special highway in Arizona. I-17 isn't that old, and 89 was the route like we were talking about previously. So this is kind of our specific car show for the state.
That's awesome. So now I have a 1969 Ford Ranger pickup truck, and if I'm interested in bringing that down, how do I do that and show that truck off?
And that was the camper version, right?
Yes, it was. It was a camper special. Yeah. So
if you wanted to bring it down, when you come to the roadblock, there'll be Mingus Union Hot Rod Club members there, and they'll point you to the right to have you go down left on First Street, go all the way to Yavapai, make a left, basically making the block coming up the back way so you can park on 89A Main Street in Old Town, obviously because you won't be able to drive through the towns.
Right. And so what identifies or deems a car as a classic car?
That's a tough topic. And it depends on which group you talk to and how you prose it. If you think you have a cool, interesting car, bring it down.
All right.
We don't dignify or cut anybody loose, or if you think it's cool, bring it down. That's where we're at.
Okay, that's great. That's good. Okay. Well, now going from cars to now class acts.
Yep.
And what are the acts that are going to be there that night? I should say throughout the day.
Throughout the day.
Yes.
So we've got Blaine Long. He's from 11 to 1. Big Nick and the Gila Monsters, 1:30 to 3.
Now you have to say that right. It's Gila Monsters, right?
I guess. Yeah, you're right. I'm a Midwest guy.
Yes, I know.
That's what I pronounce it. I still call quesadillas quesadillas.
Okay. so it's Big Nick and the Gila Monsters and
Tommy Duke's band.
Okay.
Yep.
So now what how were we able to get Blaine Long? Because he's an extremely talented artist.
Exactly. Up and coming.
Right, and he's up and coming. So how did we do that? How did we land him?
With all these acts, and especially Blaine, they're very busy. They have a lot going on in Phoenix. It's one of those things where we provide a special venue. They get to get out of Phoenix for a little bit, come to the cooler weather. We work with these acts every year, and we develop relationships with them. And we also have those bigger programs that they can use as stepping stones. So this is one of those programs that Blaine believes in. He's excited to be here, along with Big Nick and the Gila Monsters and Tommy Duke's band.
Right. And have we had the Tommy Duke's band here before?
We have.
Yeah, that's right.
We have. He loves this program.
Okay.
In fact, after the program, he's asking if he can be booked for the following year. And Tommy is no slouch. Arizona Blues Hall of Fame member. The list goes on. He's run Battle of the Bands for radio stations. He's been doing it since the 80s. Great talented artist.
So now what's involved with the Blues Hall of Fame? Do you know anything about that? How do they do that? How do they identify, the Tommy Duke's band or Big Nick, and how do they come up with that?
That's a good question, because it also gives credibility. When you say Arizona Blues Hall of Fame, what exactly does that mean? It's a very stringent process. There's a panel that makes up this society. It's not something that you just buy into and become an automatic member. You have to be asked to be a member of the Arizona Blues Hall of Fame, and then their history spans a long way back. Danny Rhodes was Arizona Blues Hall of Fame
part
member.
of that. Yes, he was. So yeah, that's interesting. Now I love blues, and so when I'm down there, I really enjoy the day. So it's a lot of fun for me and my family to come down, and I'll even drag my wife out there and dance for a little bit. So it's a lot of fun.
There you go.
But so make sure that you come down and you've got the opportunity to listen to Blues Hall of Famers in the context of Tommy Duke's band, and then also Blaine Long and Big Nick and the Gila Monsters. So the day is set and it's ready to go this Saturday. So please, when you got some time, swing down to Old Town and revisit. If you haven't been there before, you've got an incredible opportunity to see picturesque Old Town. Now, we've talked about a little bit of the art exhibits. What can you tell us about that?
We try to set the bar really high for the artist show. We love arts and crafts, and that's kind of more of the farmers market deal. There's definitely a line, a designation there between arts and crafts and fine art. Sometimes it kind of wavers back and forth, but we focus on fine art, painting, sculptures, that kind of stuff. Stuff that you're going to go there and you would be proud to own it. Not that arts and crafts isn't that. I want to make sure that's known. Right. But to be able to buy an original piece of artwork, a painting, is very special, and to have that opportunity is unique, and that's what Walking on Main does. You'll be blown away at the talent. A lot of it is local.
So now, if I come down there, can I purchase different maybe paintings or things of that nature also?
Definitely. Sculptures, paintings, if you see something, talk to the artist and work out the deal.
That's awesome. Well, anything else that you want to tell us about as it pertains to Walking on Main? Any of the artists, the venue, what else is going on or anything of that nature?
Yep. I think it was interesting that Mitch was saying that a lot of the wineries they are also having music that evening. So when the event stops at 5, feel free to go to the tasting rooms, enjoy more wine, and listen to live music.
Okay, all right. Now, Mitch, getting back with you, now you've got some wines here. Is there anything you can tell us about these wines?
Okay, this first one here that Hezekiah has playing with the bottle is the Poet. It's 100% Pinot Noir. And then we have the Lotus on the other side. That's kind of turned out to be our flagship wine, Petit Syrah, Merlot, and Syrah.
That's interesting. That's awesome. So if you are a wine connoisseur, and even if you're not, come down, because again, the wine tasting rooms are available, and again, it's a consortium. Everybody is there together and working in order to please you in so many ways. So I think that Walking on Main is going to be a real special time period this Saturday from 11 to 5. Come down and you can meet Mitch, you can meet Hez, you can meet a lot of people down there, and it's really a incredible time to just socialize and have fun. So we would welcome you there. And again, thank you for watching Inside Cottonwood, and enjoy your time this weekend with Walking on Main. I'm Richard Faust, your host, Community Services General Manager for the City of Cottonwood.